Across the country, hundreds of COVID-19 cases have been linked to religious services. One congregation had a third of its members infected and 3 deaths tied to the virus. I was there when county workers plastered the doors of North Valley Baptist with yet another cease and desist letter.
Hey, Tim Frisch with A Frisch Perspective here. That video clip that you saw was talking about North Valley Baptist Church in Santa Clara, California. I've been talking about this story. Jack Trieber is the pastor there. And that report can actually be found here on the ABC 7 News website. And it says South Bay Church holds indoor services as COVID-19 fines reach $100,000. Criminal charge possible. Santa Clara, California. Fines are mounting against a Santa Clara County church that is holding in-person indoor services against repeated warnings from public health officials. Further along, it says, Trieber said the service marks 6 months since the church was shut down over the pandemic. Since resuming services, he's been hit with $102,500 in fines. Then it talks about an appeal that he made in a video, and I've talked about that video as well. The I-Team spoke with Santa Clara County Counsel James Williams on Monday afternoon. Reporter Dan Noyes, why is it important they don't hold those in-person services? James Williams, well, from everything we've learned about COVID-19, and we've learned a lot in the last several months, one of the key principles that we have learned so far is that outdoors is safer than indoors. Across the country, hundreds of COVID-19 cases have been linked to religious services. One congregation had a third of its members infected and 3 deaths tied to the virus. The I-Team was there when county workers plastered the doors of North Valley Baptist with yet another cease and desist letter. Dan Noyes, is there actually the possibility of a criminal charge? James Williams, violation of the health orders is a crime, so that's absolutely something that's available. So I think this is a really sad situation, the way that it's been breaking down. Over $100,000 in fines now for North Valley Baptist Church, and possible criminal charges are being talked about here. So this, as I've said before, is a really serious situation. I'm not sure why different churches are treated differently. I'm sure it has to do with how they've gone about handling the situation. I know, for example, Grace Community Church has a very good legal team, and they've actually sued the California government and really tried to make their case from a proactive standpoint. North Valley Baptist is taking more of a defensive measure, and they're just continuing to do what they believe God is calling them to do. But they are facing serious fines. And Pastor Jack Trieber has been making appeals, saying to the government, please stop coming down on us. So we will see what happens. Different churches are taking different approaches in terms of, even if they are having indoor services, their posture toward the government might be different. Other churches are choosing to follow government guidelines, and so they are not facing any threats or consequences. As I've talked about in my videos, there are various reasons why church leaders make the decisions that they do. Churches that are not conducting indoor services have various reasons why they are choosing to do that. Some of it, for some of them, has to do with obeying the government, the Romans 13 principle. Some of them, it has to do with loving neighbor, and they feel that the COVID-19 situation is legitimately a danger to the public health. But then you have churches like the ones I've been talking about that are saying this is really about religious liberty and making sure that we protect the freedoms and the rights that we have in this country. I've been asked recently to show the First Amendment, and I have done that before in other videos, but I will show it again here. The First Amendment of the Constitution says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So we do have a right in this country to practice our religion freely, and that is part of the case, a main part of the case that churches like this are making. I mentioned a rally that was held yesterday at the California Capitol, and again, these are Christians that are saying we have the right to gather, and the government needs to honor that right. Of course, that's being weighed against what is perceived as a public health threat with the coronavirus, and so that's what's adding to the complication. I'm really looking forward to the decision of the judge from the September 4th court hearing in regard to Grace Community Church. And we'll see what that judge says. I don't know how that decision will impact other churches, but that is in California. And I think in some ways that could show the direction that things go in the courts. So we'll see what happens. I will keep you posted. I just wanted to share this story and let you know what's happening. Really sad, some of the things that some churches are facing. But we want to keep brothers and sisters in prayer, regardless of the decisions that they're making. We want to uphold one another in prayer. Feel free to leave comments in the comments section, but please try to keep those comments positive and edifying to discussion. And as always, thank you so much for listening to what I have to say from A Frisch Perspective.